All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unravel the incredibly high-stakes commercial mystery behind the NRL's aggressive expansion strategy. If you follow rugby league at all, you already know the race for the 20th license isn't just about throwing another team on the field for the sake of it. No, this is a massive, high-speed chess match involving billions of dollars, fiercely competing territories, and a very real ticking clock. So today, we're going to break down the latest intelligence, connect the dots on the expansion timeline, and figure out why one specific city is suddenly sitting right in the driver's seat.
To really understand the urgency here, you just have to look at this number. The NRL could literally be leaving $20 million on the table every single year if a 20th team isn't up and running by 2029. I mean, take a second to let that sink in. That is an enormous financial penalty for moving too slowly. We aren't talking about some vague, feel-good aspiration to grow the game. There is a hard, incredibly lucrative deadline rapidly approaching.
So let's talk about this $20 million missing piece and the massive financial incentives driving that 2029 target.
This massive gap actually stems from an incentive baked right into the league's colossal $5.3 billion broadcast agreement. Australian Rugby League Commission Chairman Peter V'landys has made it absolutely clear they need to stop talking and hand somebody a license fast. He straight up said they need to make the decision pretty quickly just to ensure the new club has enough operational lead time. Because of that $20 million annual dangling carrot, the days of endless speculative pitch meetings are over. The NRL desperately needs an organization ready to hit the ground running.
Which brings us to exactly why Christchurch leads the pack right now, making them the absolute prime suspect for this 20th license.
See, Christchurch has rapidly transformed from a maybe one-day pitch into the absolute frontrunner because they aren't just relying on vague promises. First off, One NZ Stadium is fully operational today. There is no, hey, we'll build a stadium if you give us a team problem here. The infrastructure is already taking tickets. Second, the Southern Orcas bid has actually made an official coaching offer to Scott Razor Robertson. That is a massive statement of intent 3 years out. But perhaps most importantly, they have the hard data on local development. Through their ESP Pathway program over the last 5 years, they've had 171 boys pass through, 69 of them landed NRL development agreements, and 29 joined the Warrior system. This directly, completely crushes the NRL's biggest historical objection to a second New Zealand club, which was always that supposed lack of local player pathways.
And you know, that local interest isn't just a niche thing anymore either. Andrew Abdo himself pointed out that New Zealand now boasts around 45,000 registered rugby league participants. That shows immense, consistent interest from the Kiwi public, even on the weeks when the Warriors aren't playing. Both V'landys and Abdo have physically been to Christchurch, they've inspected the market, and they've watched the Warriors completely sell out One NZ Stadium. They've seen this 45,000-strong grassroots momentum with their own two eyes.
But despite all that momentum, there are still 3 serious obstacles remaining. These are the major friction points holding back a finalized deal.
First up, the money, obviously. V'landys has stressed that nobody has fully satisfied their ultimate financial requirement just yet. Current reporting suggests the NRL wants Team 20 to effectively cover about $100 million in value. How? Well, one way this might happen is by having the new club forego central grants for up to 5 years. Think about that. Whoever gets this license needs seriously deep pockets and a completely flawless commercial model to survive those crucial early years without standard league funding.
The second obstacle is the geographical dilemma. It's the Christchurch argument versus the Queensland argument. Setting up in Western Brisbane or Ipswich relies on this incredible existing rugby league heartland and the strategic need to protect that territory from the AFL. But placing another team in Queensland mostly just slices the existing rugby league pie into smaller pieces. The Christchurch argument, on the other hand, is entirely about growing the commercial pie. A South Island team creates immediate derbies with the Warriors, it opens up a brand new New Zealand television market, and provides an extra highly valuable weekly game for the broadcasters. It's the classic expansion debate, right? Do you defend your territory or do you conquer a new one?
Finally, there's the internal bid politics. While Christchurch as a city is heavily favored, the specific Southern Orcas bid isn't completely locked in. There are multiple factions at play here. Earlier reports indicated the Christchurch City Council was actually trying to amalgamate 2 different proposals into a single community-backed bid entirely separate from the Orcas group. So the commission might actually have to step in and demand a consolidation of these factions, or restructure the ownership group before they even think about handing over the keys.
Okay, let's shift gears and look at the World Cup audition theory, which gives us a brilliant strategic timeline for the grand announcement. So the Rugby League World Cup kicks off on October 15, 2026. Exactly 10 days later, Christchurch is hosting a massive Kiwis and Kiwi Ferns doubleheader.
This right here is what we'd call a free final audition. The NRL gets to stress test the entire Christchurch market. We're talking ticket sales, corporate hospitality, TV audiences, local transport, the atmosphere, right in front of the executives. Once the World Cup wraps up in mid-November, it perfectly sets the stage for a late 2026 announcement window for Team 20.
Now, why is that late 2026 announcement so make or break for a 2029 kickoff? Because you absolutely need those 2 full years to execute 3 critical operational steps. Step 1, locking in a head coach and front office executives. Step 2, establishing your local community pathways and securing those massive club-defining sponsorships. And Step 3, easily the most crucial of all, contracting top-tier players before everyone worth having is locked up by the other 19 clubs. This timeline fits perfectly with V'landys' warning that they just don't have time to mess around anymore.
Putting all these clues together reveals the 20-team master plan and lets us visualize what the final expansion landscape is really going to look like.
When we look at the probabilities based on all this latest intelligence, the funnel of certainty points heavily in one direction. There is about an 85% likelihood we see a 20-team competition by 2029. Honestly, the media rights economics make it almost impossible for the NRL to ignore. Drilling down, there's roughly a 70% chance that team lands somewhere in New Zealand, despite the very real threat from Queensland. And narrowing it down even further, there's about a 65% chance the Christchurch and South Island region secures the bid over alternatives. The math definitely points toward a South Island expansion.
And when you zoom out, the overarching strategy becomes breathtakingly clear in this cadence. 2027, the Perth Bears enter. 2028, the PNG Chiefs enter. 2029, Christchurch enters. This creates a beautifully methodical timeline of one expansion side per year. Commercially and aesthetically, it culminates in a perfectly clean 20-club competition, delivering exactly 10 matches every single round for the broadcasters. Honestly, it's almost too neat for the ARL Commission to resist.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder while the league fundamentally reshapes its future over the next 3 years. Is this rapid march to 20 teams a masterstroke of commercial pie growing, or a dangerous dilution that could fracture the sport's talent pool? The pieces are moving at warp speed, and the decisions made in the next few months are absolutely going to dictate the shape of rugby league for decades to come.